Okay, this is a family care group. Apostle John here. This is a family care group for January and February. This is a lesson that all of the groups are going to be teaching. And so the name of this lesson is called The Sweet Smelling Sacrifice. And this is designed to help people in their giving. And the first two verses, Philippians 4 and Genesis 4, both of them deal with the attitude of eternal rewards. Cain, of course, he gave in the 4th chapter of Genesis, and he and his offering was rejected. So remember to go ahead and read that out. Have them read it. Open their Bibles. Don't just read it here. I want people turning through their Bibles. Okay. The introduction pretty much lays the foundation of what we're going to be talking about, and the goals of this lesson is to understand key principles of tithing, to cultivate the proper attitude towards tithes and offerings, and establish a system of giving, tithing within your budget. So we want to help people in their giving and help them understand how to give properly, how to obey the Lord, and how to see the rewards come as a result of their giving. So, as a leader yourself, make sure that you are not only reading this, but you're applying this to your own life, because we want to be examples of what we teach. It's very, very important. So I get into observations of each verse, Philippians 4 and Philippians and Galatians, or Genesis 4. And again, read those out. And remember, this is a family care group, okay? So inspiration, information, application, inspiration Sunday morning, information Sunday night. Application is the midweek. So we're not here to teach. This is not your role to teach this. Your role is to be a facilitator and for people to share, communicate, get around, have every person sharing something as they're going through this. Take your time with this. This is designed for it to be at least a couple of, you have 2 word sessions the first and second week in January, the first and second week in February, and that'll cover this information. It's pretty self-explanatory. Again, if you want to teach, that's what Sunday nights are for. Submit a lesson to Cheryl Vaughn, and we'll be glad to have you teach to your heart's desire. Amen? But here you're to facilitate. So that's what the first and 2 observations are. Some really good points, and get some good discussion, get people talking about this information. Then exercise 3, I do a couple of exercises and just ask a lot of questions based upon, again, the scriptures. The entire lesson is based on the scriptures. So discuss those observation points. What role does money play in expansion of God's kingdom? All that stuff is pretty, again, self-explanatory. I like G, where we talk about Jesus. He sat in the treasury, and he, was watching how people were giving. And people need to understand that God does watch us. There's a lot of verses that give reference to how we give and how we give in God's presence, and we want people to understand to give. Also, H talks about how the economy does not affect God's system. And really some great verses there. Talk about, discuss it, and then we close with an exercise, number 4, exercise 2, where I do some studies on the average giving out here. The tithing today is about 6% or 5%. 6% of people actually tithe. So people are not tithing today. So we need to talk about why that is. What's their thought? Why is that true? Then we go into the last part here. What are the steps that the person should correct? Again, people have not tithing because they don't have the right attitude. How do we correct those attitudes? And then finally see his wrong attitude led him to strife and eventually murder. And what role does strife play in drowning our money supply? So that'll cover it for a couple of months. And then we've got at least one more teaching that might be for March, and it may bleed over into April. We want to get people started out right And we want to get our ministry and our people giving faithfully to God, being renewed in their giving and expressing a joyful, thankful heart in giving. And as a result, because of that right attitude, reaping a bountiful harvest. Be blessed, and that's all we have to share. Look forward to you having this lesson.